It's road trip time. Yes, I love mornings that you get up and you want to be alive. So this morning I woke up, the sun is shining, everything inside of me is like, oh my gosh, it is time to be alive and awake. And I thought, what a great day to go on a road trip. So do you know that feeling when you want to get out in the world and you have all this energy to start going and you just don't exactly know where to go? That can be the experience sometimes when you're looking at your life with Jesus. That's like your typical retreat high moment, right? So how many times have I gotten off of retreat and I have that moment, I wake up and I'm like, this is an awesome road trip morning. It's just time to get out and go. That's kind of how I feel sometimes after retreats. I'm sure you guys feel the same way, right? Or different things that you're you get this Jesus high. And then you start busting out and you're ready to go on this road trip and you have no idea where you're going besides just Jesus is the general direction. That's good. That's really good. And then you know what happens? You hit the slump. And it's typical road trip anatomy of a atlas of your life. Can we break that down for a minute? Because I think it could actually help. I lived in a van for a whole year. I actually did. And it was one of the best years of my life. It was me, 11 other college kids, and we ran all over the Midwest. And I remember thinking some mornings when I got into the van, what's the secret to a great road trip? Because there'd be some days where you're literally on the road for 11 hours, and you learned how to get good at it. I'll tell you 2 secrets that I learned living in the gray van. And then I wanted to kind of see, maybe with Jesus, something kind of applies that's similar. This is what I learned from 10 months on the road. I'll give it to you for absolute free. You really only need an awesome destination. And why is that? Because you know what? Nobody wants to get up in the morning and be like, yeah, I'm going to Illinois. Nobody cares. You want to get up in the morning, you want to be like, yeah, I'm gonna die going to the Grand Canyon. That is a road trip rule. Number 1, great location, right? And number 2, and this is even more important actually, you gotta pick the right road trip buddies. Let's do right road trip buddy, and let's do wrong road trip buddy, okay? Right road trip buddy. Let's go. Yep. Do we have enough money? Hope so. Okay, great. And then you just start rolling with the punches. Nothing goes right on a road trip. Nothing. So to have somebody that's in your passenger seat that's okay with that is a really good road trip buddy. What you want to steer away from is you want to steer away from road trip buddies who want to hit the chicken brake too often. It's like this. A boulder comes down on your way to the Grand Canyon and there's a boulder in the middle of the road. This is how the wrong road trip buddy responds to that. There is a boulder in the road. Oh my, we should go home, right? And actually, you're going to the Grand Canyon. That's actually really cool. The right road trip buddy is gonna be like, hey, there's a boulder in the middle of the road. We must be getting close. Yeah. Let's talk about God and let's talk about the enemy. Because this is what I realized about Jesus. Jesus kind of has an outdoorsman side to him. He likes the adventure. If you watch all throughout the gospel, and this is what I felt so much in my own life, he kind of calls you onto the adventure with him. Hey, come follow me. Where are we going? Well, come and see. That's a good road trip buddy, because he can kind of roll with the punches. Yeah. And what I notice is normally when we get off of these retreats or when I come off of an event that's a really strong moment with Jesus, I'll feel that inside of me. I'll feel like I'm ready to get on a road trip with Jesus all the way out to the Grand Canyon, and I actually don't care what that means. I want to go with him. That is God. When he is your destination and you're pointed toward him, you're moving toward him in the Grand Canyon, he will do everything he can to clear out space for you to just be able to get there. And do you know what the devil acts like? You have an enemy in the spiritual world. He's the chicken brake guy. The devil is the guy in the passenger seat who is trying to hit the chicken brake at every possible moment. Sounds like this. The boulders sound like this. You'll never have enough time to pray. Look at all that homework. Or it'll all of a sudden happen that you decide, okay, I'm coming off a retreat, I'm gonna get really serious about praying, and then you open your Hallow app and it takes forever to download and you can't figure out which gospel it is for the day. Or it'll be that you go to school and 3 of your friends, they start talking about, can you believe those people? I think they go to church every Sunday. obstacle, 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 boulder, boulder, boulder. And that's the chicken break guy. Because he knows why. The enemy knows that I am road tripping toward Jesus. He knows it. My soul is like moving that direction. And the first thing that he does is try to put so many obstacles in front of me that I give up. Don't you feel like that sometimes? So many obstacles that I just, okay, you know what? Other people are holy, but it's too hard. Like, I don't even know how to do this. I sit down to pray and I get bored every time, and I must be doing something wrong. And slowly, you realize you were cruising at like this 80-mile-an-hour open highway, you and Jesus, life is a highway, and you're smoothing. And then it's like, not really anymore. I'm all of a sudden not smooth sailing. And in fact, the chicken break guy has got the best of me because I'm starting to switch directions. And I'm starting to lose steam. How does God operate with that? Look at the way Jesus handles himself in the gospel when he's with his come and follow me people. Every time an obstacle comes up, he just kind of like kicks it to the side. They're cruising at their 80-mile-an-hour, and all of a sudden there's 5,000 people that need to eat, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to feed them. So Jesus, very gently, that's okay, guys. Men, we can handle this. I'll just put 5,000 loaves together. And then he does. Yeah. It seems like such an insurmountable obstacle, and that happens to us all the time. It seems like I will never find time to pray. I am literally so busy. My anxiety level is through the roof because my teachers hate me. And then it's all of a sudden, I'm like driving on the way home, and I end up in traffic for 5 minutes, and I realize oh, I can turn on a praise and worship song. And it's like Jesus pops that big bubble of like, it used to be so big, the obstacle, because that's what the chicken break guy does. He's like, oh my gosh, no way, that boulder is way too big in the road. Little chicken break. And Jesus gets out of the car, and he's like, hey, there's a turnaround point right there. We can just drive around it. And what seemed so impossible, Jesus just, boop, no, I'll take care of it. There's an easier way. Jesus is the best road tripping buddy ever. So this Sunday, can we do this? Let's take a look at these two voices. We have chicken break guy and all the obstacles that he can put in your life, right? That's the voice of the enemy because he's saying it's way too hard to get to God. Why? Because if he can slow you down, he's doing the right job for him. He wants you to be away from God. And Jesus, he's just like the best, most easygoing, laid-back road trip guy ever who's super capable. He knows what he's doing. He knows what it means to be in the great outdoors. He realizes there's a boulder in the road, and you're gonna move it. And he's pretty much gonna take care of it. So here's my invitation to you. If you look in the notes, you can click on a little PDF, and it's something you can print out for yourself, kind of trendy, where you can do how girls love these little planners, okay? Make this your spiritual planner, okay? And this week, can you just make a moment, once every day, this can literally take 20 seconds, literally, to just write down in both columns, let's keep a tally mark of what are the obstacles that the enemy is putting in my life to keep me from getting to God. It could be feeling shameful that I'm not doing the right things. It could literally be actually, I try to pray during the day and things keep happening where things pop up. It could be friendships I'm I know this is not good for me. It can be some movies I'm watching. What are the obstacles that are obviously slowing me down? And then on the opposite column, write down, but wait, what are the things that God is putting in my life that are instant boulder removals? Good friendships, these videos, for example. People in my life that are telling me that I can do it. This sense of all these books that I can read, the videos I can watch online. What are the things that teacher at school that always is I want to be like her, and she's got something going on with God, right? Kind of put the columns back to back, and you know what you're gonna find? Every time, exactly the boulders that the devil is these are way too big. Exactly those boulders, Jesus has these little, the little jackhammers? He has exactly the jackhammer to handle that boulder. I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. Actually, I'm in traffic. And he just clears the way. So let's take this week to become more aware of what are my boulders and what are like the jackhammers of Jesus that actually he's putting in my life to tackle those exact things. Chances are what you're going to find, he wants to help you. I hope this video made you feel more free. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe to be kept up to date with all of our new videos. Also, want to be a part of our mission? Donate below to support us in our calling to help young people hear God's voice and live their mission.